Hi, fourth grade. Today we are going to read our weekly opener called The Dragon Problem. Now, the genre of this story for Unit 1, Week 1 is a fairy tale, and our essential question is where do good ideas come from? So, we are going to look at how our main character, Liang, gets a good idea. So, follow me as we read this story. Once upon a time, long before computers, baseball, or pizza, there lived a young man named Liang. During the day, Liang helped his father build furniture. At night, he made unique and original toys for the children in his village. He made birds with flapping wings. He carved dragons with rippling, moving scales, sharp claws, and red eyes. Every child in the village had one of Liang's dragons. Liang knew a lot about dragons because one lived not nearby on the mountain. A few times a year, the dragon would swoop down on the village, eat water buffalo, pigs, and any people unlucky enough to be around. The emperor had done nothing to get rid of the dragon, even though his summer palace was near Liang's village. One day in May, the emperor and his family arrived to take up residence at his summer palace. As the procession passed through the village, the gracious Princess Pang smiled kindly at Liang. He fell instantly in love. At dinner that night, Liang told his father that he wanted to marry Princess Pang. His father almost choked on the stale, hard rice ball he was eating. "You're joking," his father said when he finally could speak. "I'm serious," insisted Liang. His father began laughing so hard that the old chair he was sitting on broke. He lay on top of the flattened chair, still laughing. "I'll show him," Liang muttered angrily as he stomped out of the room. The next morning, the emperor's messenger made an official announcement. "His most noble emperor proclaims that whoever gets rid of the dragon will marry his daughter, Princess Pang." When he heard the announcement, Liang raced to the palace to be the first to sign up. Then he looked for his friend Li to help him brainstorm ideas for getting rid of the dragon. Unfortunately, Li was away. Liang sat on a bench frowning. Nearby, children were playing with the toy dragons that he had made them. Now, let's take a little pause and think about what are some ways he can brainstorm on his own since he was kind of relying on his friend Lee. What would you do in this situation when you were looking for a friend to help you come up with ideas and they weren't around? What would you do? Great thinking, scholars. Let's get back to the story. "Liang, what's wrong?" the children asked. "I have to get rid of the dragon on the mountain," he told them. "I have an idea," said little Ling Ling. "Why don't you carve a giant dragon and leave it by the cave? It will alarm the real dragon and scare him into flying away." Liang stared at her. "Perfect," he shouted, and rushed home. He worked frantically for days, making a huge, scary dragon's head. The night that he finished, he loaded it onto a cart and went up to the mountain. He got near the cave. Liang then put the wooden head on top of a big rock. From the front, it looked like the rest of the dragon's body was behind the rock. Liang hid in the bushes and gave a loud roar. "What's that noise?" growled the dragon, rushing out of his cave. Then he saw the massive dragon head glaring at him. "Go away or I'll eat you up," he commanded. The huge dragon continued to glare at him. "He must be very strong, and he's not afraid of me," thought the dragon, who, like all bullies, was a coward. He decided that now was probably a good time to take a trip. "Actually, I'm leaving now. Please make yourself at home in my cave," the dragon called as he flew away. A year later, Liang and Princess Peng were married, and they opened up a toy shop together and lived happily ever after. Now, let's make some connections. Can you talk about where Liang's idea came from? Remember, we said his friend Lee wasn't there to help him brainstorm originally, so where did Liang get the idea to scare away the dragon? That's right, Liang got the idea from his children friend in the village that were playing with his toys. They got the idea from the toys that he had made them of the toy dragons. Now, let's think about a time when a friend helped you think of an idea. So again, Liang originally wanted his friend Lee to help him. Is there a certain friend that you have that always helps you come up with good ideas? Or do you have a time that you remember when a friend helped you come up with a really great idea? Wow, you all have some really good friends and some really good ideas. That's great. Now, let's look at our comprehension strategy. So, for this story, we are thinking about making predictions. So, when you read the story, The Dragon Problem, you can use text clues and illustrations to predict what you think will happen next. So if we look at the pictures as we read, those can help us kind of indicate what might happen next. And it can help us make good predictions, things that actually make sense and follow along with the story. Other things we can do would be finding text evidence. As I read, I see that Liang wants to marry Princess Pang. Then the emperor announces that anyone who gets rid of the dragon will marry his daughter. My prediction is that Liang will try to get rid of the dragon, and I was correct. So not only did I make a prediction based on the illustrations and based on what I read and what I know, but I can also source and cite my evidence. Look, I found it here on page 24. I read that Liang is going to the palace to sign up to get rid of the dragon. My prediction was correct. So, all of the things that we put together in making predictions and finding and citing text evidence can help us make good predictions and better comprehend our story. So, it's your turn. Make a prediction about whether the dragon will ever return to his cave. Do you think he'll continue to be scared of the big dragon he saw before he left? Tell us what clues in the text led you to your prediction. As you read, remember to use the strategy for making predictions. Also, when you make your predictions and you cite your evidence, tell us what page. So when I practiced, I found my evidence on page 24. What page did you find your evidence for making your prediction on whether or not the dragon would ever come back? Wow, those are some good predictions. I don't know if you're right or not. I guess you might have to continue the story yourself. So our other comprehension skill would be sequencing. Sequencing is the order in which the key story events take place. Putting a story's events in sequence will help you understand the setting, the characters, and the plot. So let's definitely pay attention to the key story events. So those are going to be the most important pieces of the story. Here, we will also be using finding text evidence to help us with our comprehension skill of sequencing. When I read pages 23 and 24 of The Dragon Problem, I see that Liang wants to marry Princess Pang. The next day, the emperor's messenger announces that anyone who gets rid of the dragon will marry the princess. So, let's put some of these key story events in order to help us summarize our plot. First of all, our main character, the most important one, the one that's talked about the most, is Liang. The setting is a village somewhere in ancient China. The beginning, Liang sees Princess Pang and he falls in love. The next day, the emperor says anyone who gets rid of the dragon will marry her. Now it's your turn. Reread The Dragon Problem and find important events from the middle and from the end of the story and list them in your own graphic organizer. So you can simply get a piece of paper, separate it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sections, label it character, setting, beginning, middle, and end. If you want, you can copy what we already have here and add in your own key story details for the middle and the end. Remember to find your text evidence. Go back to the pages and help yourself summarize the key and important details that you can find from the middle and the end of the story to help us put it all back together and summarize. So what did you write for your middle and ending part of your graphic organizer for sequencing? I would have put something like, Liang shared with his father that he wanted to marry Princess Pang and got laughed at, but decided to do it anyway. For the end, I would say Liang and his friends came up with a great idea to scare the dragon. That worked, and he scared the dragon away and married Princess Pang. So I hope you guys had a good time reading our story, making predictions, and sequencing all of our key story details. I'll see you next time. Bye, fourth grade.